Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the return of Podcastguyz. Yes, it has been a very long time. You see, we got so caught up. And,
7 months.
Yeah, we had a lot of technical problems and got really caught up in a whole lot of, we got our own lives. So, anyway, we are the Podcastguyz. I am Alex.
And I am Jordan.
This is John. And because of our last topic, we weren't the most successful in discussing because of how many technical problems we are actually returning with the D&D stories. If you guys don't know what D&D is, that would be, of course, Dungeons and Dragons. I hope you know what that is. It is often referenced. It is actually a lot more accepted nowadays, and it's nice. So
it is very nice. Very good fantasy tabletop game.
Yeah. So since we have streamed last time, we have had a lot more stories. We have stories over Discord.
Yes, we have.
Here, I'll actually pull up show you guys the wheel that you missed out
on
so much last time.
And show them the wheel.
If I can get this to move.
On the wheel, we got categories, 3 of them. We have main adventure, Discord adventure, and then just one shots in general.
Yeah, we got that one shot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
one shot, baby,
basically,
one shot.
How we're going to do this is that we're gonna spin that funny wheel, and that's going to determine the category. So based on those 3 categories, we'll just tell a story. We have I believe we have 4 for 2 categories and then 5 for the other. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, without further ado, I would like us to begin our very first conversation. I'm gonna spin that wheel. And we're gonna get right into it. All right, let's spin that wheel.
Oh, I love the sound effect.
All right, this is gonna be fun. Our first one is actually main adventure.
Oh, great. Okay, then. So the way that it works on my side is after the wheel is spun, we will roll a dice to figure out which story it is. Since there's 4 in each category besides for main adventure, which has 5, we'll roll the D4 and we'll see what story we get. So for main adventure, our first story is number 3. Oh, we got your demonic rock.
Oh, you got the demonic rock star. Oh boy.
This one should be a fun one.
Okay.
I guess we should start with explaining the rock god a little bit then.
Oh yeah, no, we can totally explain the rock god. That was a while ago, but
maybe we should tell a little bit about your character first, because this mainly revolves around you and Raiden.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so yes, I am playing a female monk. Her name is Stella, and basically, I wrote her up to be kind of. I guess she's supposed to be kind of headstrong. But so in our party there are 3 individuals. There was 4, but we'll get into that later. There is me.
Yes, there's
Stella.
3.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, there's the DM. So there was obviously Alex's character Stella. Then we had 2 other characters. We have a rogue, Newt, and then we have who is named Raiden. And then once again, there was another person, but yeah, we can get into that person later, because that's a story that we actually have on here.
So he actually technically plays a role in the demonic rock. I'd like to kind of blame him in an aspect. It was all his fault. I kind of lost my rock.
I guess you could say that.
I was upsetty. I'm still kind of upset.
Okay. Here, I guess I'll just explain the rock god then very quick. So the rock god was a character I kind of created up on the spot because our traveling group was traveling through the mountains and they were on their way to this one dungeon. But they were on their way traveling through the mountains and they came through this one town I forgot the name of it. It was such a long time ago.
It was some sort of snow mountain town, I remember. Wasn't it? Yeah.
And they ended up passing this old guy on the road, Krug, and he had a basket filled with rocks. And on the spot, this was not planned whatsoever. I just thought it'd be funny. So this old guy, let's just say he was not correctly, like,
stable.
I guess just stable. He wasn't really stable. He wasn't right in the mind, and let's just say he was really attached to his rocks, like really, really attached to his rocks. And he had a lot of rocks, and I'm pretty sure he had different names for them, didn't he?
Oh yeah, no.
One
of them was like Melvin. One of them was like Travis or something, and we ended up with a couple different rocks from him, which is really funny.
Yeah, but they walk up to this old guy, and the first thing that he like yells at them, he's like, "Would you like to buy my rocks?" And he just like kept like budging in, trying to get them to buy his rocks.
Yeah, and we're sitting there and we're going, okay, well, what is so unique about these rocks? Because I think at the time we were just looking for magic items in general, because we were about to delve into like our first like artifact dungeon. So we were trying to look for some sort of magic item, and we're like, what's so special about the rocks? He's like, oh, they talk. I talk to the rocks. The rocks talk to me. I talk to them. They are my friends. And I'm like, okay, can I try to talk to him? He's like, yeah, sure. And I hold
the whole time while he's talking, he's petting the rocks also. Like you have a rock in his hand, petting it.
Yeah. And I hold the rock up to my ear, and it's just like a bunch of demonic whisperings. From what I recall, it's just a whispering in my ear, and I think that was the one that I held up, and then I think Raiden tried a different one, and I think he was the one that held it up to his ear, because then I remember I grabbed one, and for some other reason, because it was making like a sniffing sound. I think so. I like held food up to it, and it like ate the food. And Ryan looked at me. He's like, "Stella, that is our cue to run." And I'm like, "I agree." And we book it, and there was no hesitation. We dropped the rocks and booked it, and we hear like a whirlwind sound, and we turn around, and all of a sudden, Joanne is saying, "He's like, oh yeah, by the way, he's like." Floating towards you.
With rocks rotating around him.
Yeah, it's like fucking...
but he chased him down for a while.
I remember screaming like an ape at that. I remember going like, ah! I was terrified of that. So...
Oh my god, it was great.
He started... you can continue it.
Yeah, he started throwing rocks at him, though. Each one had a different effect, and the first couple missed, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But the one that actually matters is the one that... Yeah, and the one that actually matters is the one that nailed Raiden in the back of the head. And when it nailed him in the back of the head, I had to describe to him as you feel as something starts to creep in your ear, and you feel as it starts to whisper inside your ear. And then I turned towards Alex's character, Stella, and I was like... Okay, Stella, you look over at Ryan as he's on the ground and reaching in his ear.
Yeah, no, oh, shoot, what'd I do? I grabbed the... Didn't I just grab the rock? I'm pretty sure I did.
You went to grab for it, but then Ryan stood up, and he was just like, rock. He just kept saying rock. He just kept saying rock.
Yeah. And then I think Newt is like in the distance watching this, and he came to the conclusion.
He came out of a shop. Remember?
Wait, what?
Remember, he came out of the shop and threw it at him, and then the rock god caught it in air because he's the god of rocks. And chucked it back at Newt. And then Newt was like, I've had enough of this, and he walked back in the shop.
Yeah. But, I'm not even too sure how we managed to convince him, but it's just like I think I had to end up like talking to him.
You guys ended up talking to him, and you guys ended up buying rocks off him because he was like, "Oh, if you buy rocks, I'll leave you alone."
Yeah,
and you're like, "Okay, fine. How many
rocks?" 1 gold
rocks?
piece each, and I'm like, "All right, whatever. It's 1 gold piece. It's a drip in the bucket. It's fine." At this point in the game, at that point in the game, we all had a lot of money. Now we're kind of dropping, but at that point, we all had.
You guys bought a boat, though. That's
we bought
why you guys are low on money. And then it broke.
Oh man, we gotta talk about a sea adventure sometime. That's for a different day.
The boat mafia.
The boat mafia. Yeah, that's for a different day. But yeah, so it's like we each bought those rocks. So anyway, so how that plays a role in the future. So
later on down the. This was actually when the boat. This was with the boat. The boat mattered.
Yeah.
You guys had the boat during that time.
That's
so it's good that we mentioned the boat because,
Yeah,
we can explain how we lost the boat. Yeah.
Oh, the boat got that was a sad day.
Yeah.
The boat got absolutely destroyed.
Okay, so that's basically the end of how they got the rock, but that's not the demonic rock that we're about to go through. One of those rocks was the demonic rock, though. Which that was the one that was reaching inside of Micah's ear. Well, they ended up getting that off him, and wasn't really used later on. Stella's character, and it hasn't really been used too much until a session recently. I don't really know what to explain about this one, but it was another. They were going in for the artifact, and they ended up running into a very familiar ally / now enemy. Sai. When they ran into Sai, they ended up going through a huge battle with him. And then after that huge battle, a dragon got summoned, like it usually does after they get artifact this thing.
Sorry to interrupt, but we should probably give a brief over who Sai was real quick.
We probably should.
Just know this, that Sai was someone who once played with us. He was a 4th player, but then gradually over time, he just kind of didn't really want to play anymore, pretty much. He got busy, and he just decided not to really. He just thought that'd be better to just not play anymore, and we're like, all right, whatever, that's fine. So you continued without him.
Personally with face to face, I asked him, "Hey, can I use your character for my own purposes after you leave?" And he agreed with it. So this was me using his character for my own personal uses.
Yeah. And we had so many sneaking suspicions that he was behind a lot of it.
Oh my god. We need to do a whole, half podcast on just Sai's character.
Yeah, no, we had... he was ridiculous. And he was so sketchy. It's like,
he was.
How could you not think he was a traitor? It's like, oh my god.
And it wasn't even planned this way. It wasn't like he was like. It wasn't like the player was just like talking me behind my back, like I want to betray the party. It was never that. It's just how his character was.
Yeah.
And it ended up just working perfectly with how I wanted to use his character. But this story really isn't about him. It just more had him in it. So they end up fighting him for this artifact. He ends up running away, and something about this party, the whole objective now is to get all the artifacts to try and prevent Tiamat from being summoned. So they're trying to get this artifact, but when an artifact is taken from the temple or dungeon that they're in, a dragon is summoned always to try and protect the artifact. So of course the electric ring, and then a blue dragon comes in. And the first thing Sai and his group end up doing is they try and get out of there. So they're trying to run and get out. Well, they end up escaping, and it leaves 4 people in this room. Or no, 5. It leaves Tressa, Raiden, Stella, Newt, and a dragon, all in this very clustered up room. With only one way out. So what does our brave group of party members decide to do? Well, actually, one of the players had to leave. But afterwards, after we got it all sorted out, what did our brave party members decide to do? They decided to run.
and he gave us, keep in mind, he gave us the option of, hey, if you decide to stay back and actually fight this lad, I'll give you full HP, and I'll like actually give you a chance, because if we had fought it at our current HP, we would have died.
I think Newt was down.
Yeah, no, he was on the
also
verge of unconscious.
I think Tressa was unconscious also. So if I were, I'm pretty sure that it would have gone wrong.
Yeah,
but they end up running. I give them full health, and they end up just running. Yeah. They want to get out of the temple. So they're booking it out, and they keep running all the way to the dock where they have their boat. And obviously the dragon follows them the whole way, collapsing the whole temple. The whole temple time that they get out. They also had to do a whole bunch of checks, like dex checks, to make sure that they were able to like dodge as like different stuff was falling, because a big dragon charging through a temple is obviously going to collapse it. But here, you can explain the rest of the part. Is your character's kind of story at this point?
Let's see here. So we book it out.
Okay, wait. A couple people fell. I think you fell unconscious and Ryden fell unconscious. And
on the
it was
boat,
Tressa and Newt, and then Newt, and then Tressa and Newt. Tressa revived you, Stella, and then she fell down. Yeah. And then it was you and Newt on the boat against the dragon. And you can explain from this point. This is where the demonic rock comes in, and I'll let you explain this part.
Okay, so I had let's see here. I'd used this demonic rock a couple times in the past. So we're getting on the boat. We're trying to get out. This dragon just keeps giving chase. Like, it doesn't know how to back off.
Oh, something that we need to say very quick.
Yeah.
No one knows how, and Ryden is unconscious.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So the whole time while you were fighting the dragon, Stella, Newt was trying to figure out how to drive the boat.
Yeah. Cause Ryden has Ryan's a sailor. He was like he
used to be a sailor before this adventure.
Yeah.
And then they bought this boat and named it the SS Stanford. And Stanford we can explain in another story, but
yeah, it's
short. A turkey. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
all you really need to know is that he's a turkey.
Yeah. So Newt is trying his damnedest to get us out of there. And meanwhile, I have this dragon's giving chase, and it slowly like tears the ship apart. Like it like tore down the hold, and it slashed the sails, and it did so much. I decide to throw my rock, my demonic rock that I got from the rock god. I actually had 2 rocks, but the other rock isn't really important. It just changes colors. But I had my demonic rock, because in the past I'd actually once used my demonic rock and I like held it up to someone and it like killed them. I'm like, oh shit, I think it made him brain dead.
I'm pretty sure it exploded its head.
Yeah, it like destroyed their brain or something. I thought it was hilarious. So I was like, oh shoot, I can use this on the dragon. So I threw it at the dragon, and did it bounce off of the dragon, or did it bounce off of the... Yeah.
No, here's what happened. You turn towards me and you're like, Jordan, I wanna roll sleight of hand to see if I can throw this rock and get it in the dragon's mouth. Yeah. And I was like, okay, go ahead, roll. So then you roll, you turn towards me and you're like, that was a 4.
Yeah. But I think I added like, even with Dex or something, I got like a 4 or something. Oh no, I think, was it 4?
It was really low.
It was low, yeah. It was like 6 or something.
The end result. It was like 4, 5, or 6. It was really low.
Yeah. So from what I recall, though, I believe I threw it at the dragon.
It hit it on its face, and then it bounced off. And
then you're like, and then you were so quick about it, because you're like, it bounced off the dragon's face and lands in the water. I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? And you're like, it's gone. I'm like, the fuck do you mean it's gone?
It sinks to the bottom of the ocean.
I'm like, I try to catch it. And you're like, it's too late. It's already gone. I'm like, that's bullshit. That's my demonic rock.
And then I remember I turned towards you and I was like, okay, Alex, I know something that'll make you feel better. Play splash noise.
Yeah, it was some stupid water splash sound effect. You're like, it's just like kaploosh, and I'm like, you asked. And then I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm like, can I? I'm like, I want to swim down and get it, but I can't. And you're like, yeah, and if you try, good luck finding it. You're like, because it does look like just a normal rock. It's just a normal, like, decent sized rock. It's nothing special. So,
and then I was like, I guess I was like, I guess you're just gonna have to get a new one, Alex.
And I was like, get a new one. Get a new one.
He turns towards me. He turns towards me with like the meanest mug he can muster.
Yeah, I go, they don't exactly sell demonic rocks at the fucking carnival, Jordan. They don't sell them at Target. And I remember I threw water. I'm like, what the fuck?
You threw your glass of water at me. It spilled all over me.
I was so upset over that damn rock.
They
That rock
don't
had
sell
so
them
much
at Target,
potential.
Jordan. They don't sell demonic rocks at Target, Jordan.
It had so much potential, you know?
Oh my god. I just love that story just because of how much you yelled at me over it.
Yeah, no. I didn't even get a chance to save you. Like, it's gone. I'm like, what?
It's gone. It's sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. So that was fun.
I gotta get a pencil to mark that story off now.
Okay, so... Well, that was the first story of a very, very fun evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
I see we have 6 viewers. Hello, everyone that decided to join us for whatever reason.
Thank you. We very much appreciate it.
Yeah. So... man. Alright.
Should we go back to our funny wheel?
Yeah, alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna spin the wheel. I want you to show your dice roll, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Show funny dice roll. Alright. So, we are once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna spin that wheel. Discord.
Oh, Discord, okay. We got some good ones from Discord. Okay, let's hear. So, on a D4, what are we gonna get? We got a solid 1. Oh, that's Gru. We had tell stories about Gru.
Up, Joe, and turn. There you go, bro.
Yeah, we had tell. Yeah, no, sorry, my mistake.
Right.
Okay, so we had tell stories about Gru. Oh, and okay. I have a little reminder on my notes also. We got to remember to talk about Phoenix, right? Like the little court thing within this story.
Okay, wait. Are we gonna include that as part of it, or?
I have it in my notes to include it as part of it.
Okay.
At least the part where we played Phoenix Wright music.
Capcom, don't sue us. Please. Yeah.
Okay, where should we start with Gru? Maybe we should start by explaining the party just a little bit. Maybe at least maybe not backstories, but like at the very least, just like who was what, class, maybe racist.
They have quite a story.
And then I have to give a little bit of background about the world that this is in. So with this adventure, Discord adventure, 3 of the stories all take place in this world. So with Discord adventure, this campaign lasts for 2 sessions, and we'll explain why it lasted for 2 sessions. But the whole basis of this was that the world is revolved around post-war. So everything's kind of run down. There's a lot of stuff going down. Everyone's kind of... And there's also this weird mist issue that's going around. Is all towns in ruins, but the mist was taken.
Story in itself.
Yeah, the mist has also been an issue. So that's kind of the world. You can give the background of the characters, Alex, since I gave a little bit of a background of the world.
Okay, so there was my character. He was a wizard. and his name was Viral. He wanted to be a necromancer. Good old lad. He had dreams of being.
He wanted to be.
Yeah. So he wanted to be a necromancer, and I can give like a very brief backstory to all these characters. Mine was basically kind of like he was like very political, but he also hated the he hated how the magics weren't used in general, and he also hated how like a lot of beliefs were based on like your social class and stuff. He thought just because I'm a rich magic user doesn't mean that that's what. Yeah, he's kind of about equality. We have Vlad. Vlad is Vlad.
Oh yes, the vampire.
The vampire.
Yes, the vampire.
Yeah, little vampire. It was a very fascinating race. Very. No offense to who played
whoever
Vlad.
made it on D&D Beyond.
Stupid strong. It was
whoever made him. You need to fix your stuff.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. There was so much stupid garbage. But he was a vampire, and I don't really remember a whole lot of his backstory.
His backstory was literally just, hey, I need to kill someone every night so then I can live. I was locked away for many years, and I just woke up a couple weeks ago, and I'm kind of just like walking around.
He's trying to. I don't think he was necessarily like trying to like, find a way for himself to take back over, right? He was just kind of trying to read.
No, he wasn't. He was just kind of seeing what stuff was going on.
Yeah.
He was kind of just checking it out.
And then there was Emil.
Yeah, Emil. Yep.
Emil was actually a
gnome artificer.
Yeah, artificer. Pretty well fleshed out character, actually, from what I recall.
Yep.
I don't. It was a gnome, and she had a lot of. What was it about? I'm sorry.
Oh god. Oh frick. The one character we say that was really fleshed out.
Yeah, no, because it was a good backstory. We just it was.
I can find it if you can just give me some time. Let's see here.
Dang, I feel bad. Well, we might just have.
I feel bad.
Yeah, might just.
I'm sorry if you're watching this for the player who you know.
So sorry,
this belongs to.
Just know that we actually. I liked your backstory a lot. Just know that. Yeah, if you find it, then we can always just mention it later. But
yeah.
So we're all meeting up in this like small town out in the forest, and it's the first session. The first session, man, so much happened in the first session. So obviously we all meet up. Eventually all of us go to a tavern. I happen to be there. What is it? I was there when a mugger came in. It was this really big dude, and he demanded a bunch of gold and such from people. So, in general, he was hated in the town. They didn't know his name. They just said that he comes in very often, and it's like we can't really do anything about him. So... so the Phoenix Wright thing was after we confronted him, wasn't it?
It was after Gru.
Yeah. So all of us find out. It was all three of us eventually got together to find out about. I asked the bartender, and Vlad asked the bartender. I'm pretty sure at one point, like all of us eventually went into the tavern and asked about information about him. So
yes.
We went together, and I remember I was like, oh yeah, one of my flaws was that I hated, like, tight, musty places. Because I had, like, nice clothes on, because I was, like, a scholar. So I'm like, I didn't like tight, musty places.
You're a noble.
Yeah, so I didn't like going in tight, dirty places. I was trying to avoid that.
Oh, that reminds me. Another thing is, like I said, this is, like, a very, like, the setting of this is a lot of towns are beat up and poor. So... Any time that Alex's character came in contact with anyone, their first reaction wasn't very pleasant towards him.
Yeah, no. Oh, the wise men. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah?
So...
The wise man.
By the way, I'm seeing that we have 7 viewers. Welcome. So...
Welcome to the new person.
So... Hold on, let me check that quick. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys were following his footprints over to his like little shack, Gru's little shack.
Yeah.
And at the time, you guys didn't know his name, right? You guys just
No,
knew that
we
he was
didn't.
constantly. You guys just knew that he was constantly stealing from these people.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I remember a big one that especially got the one that I was specifically after was that this woman was missing like a watch, and when we went down there, even though I was like kind of sticking in the back, he actually had that exact same watch. I'm trying to remember. I know someone like went in there before all of us went down there.
Oh, you know, I just realized you're telling the story a little bit wrong.
Am I?
Vlad's character went and went by himself, and then you stayed back at the tavern and you were questioning people still. But Vlad went by himself to the shack at first.
Yeah, and then eventually he dragged all of us there, right?
Eventually he dragged you all back, but he grabbed the chest and he saw the watch and came back to you guys, and then you were like, "Hey, someone's missing a watch."
Yeah.
And then you guys all went back.
Yeah. So, sorry, Vlad. Skipped over.
We need to talk about the little brief interaction that Vlad had with Gru first, because that explains why his name is Gru.
Yeah.
Remember what happened?
Well, actually, this is a result from Vlad checking the watch. Actually, he actually checked the watch because his character is actually really sneaky. So he was able to check the watch, or he took the watch, actually, and he looked at it. Like, he went towards the door, and then he looked on the back of it, and it said, "To Gru, love mom." And Vlad's like, wait. he's like, how can this be that woman's? He's like, I doubt that woman's name is Gru. So he actually was able to slip it back on. Like, Gru did not wake up.
Until he went to leave.
You tell it.
I didn't turn towards because we were on a Discord call, but I was talking to Vlad's player, and I was like, okay, just roll one more stealth check to get out of the house without being noticed. And I think Vlad rolled like a 4 or a 5 or something really low.
Yeah.
So he ended up like stumbling on the floor, or like he tripped on something or something like that. And Gru ended up waking up, but not fully. You know, like that awake to where like you're halfway awake.
You're like still kind of drifting between conscious and unconscious.
Yeah, and Gru speaks up, and he goes, "Ma, are you back from the moon?"
And
oh, jeez.
Vlad completely goes with it. He's like, yeah, honey, I'm going out to get groceries." And he was like, "Bring me back some cereal, Ma." He's like, "You've been at the moon for so long, Ma." He's like, "Yeah, we'll do, honey."
Gru fell back asleep.
Yeah, he fell back asleep. And Vlad left. Vlad goes back to the tavern where I am, and I'm questioning people. And he wanted us to go down there because did Vlad end up taking the chest? I don't think he did. I think he wanted all of us to go down there to get the chest or something.
Yeah. He wanted you guys to all go down there, and when he came back, you were talking with a lady about a watch, and he was like, "Oh, I saw a watch."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys all went back to go get the watch and the chest.
Yeah. So, he didn't mention to me that I had this stuff etched on the back of it until...
Yeah, he didn't. He knew, but until you took it back to the lady.
Yeah, because I wanted to prove it that she was fucking scandalous. So, we all go down there. I hesitate, but we all go down there. And he's there with the chest. He's still passed out. Still okay. He's still got the watch on. So, I think Vlad is actually the one that took it, right? I think he actually took it off. It was Vlad.
Yeah, he did.
It wasn't me. It was Vlad or Emil. It was one of those. It was one of those two.
Yeah, okay. Vlad was the only one who went in. He grabbed the stuff and gave it to you guys.
Oh, yeah, no. I stood, like, at the entrance, and then Emil just helped carry it.
Mm-hmm. And then Vlad
they were
exited.
leaving again.
And as they were leaving, you guys, I explained to you guys, I was like, okay, as you guys are leaving here, down there, as Gru is just slightly weeping and crying as he's like, he's crying and he's like, Ma, the watch you gave me is gone.
He's like, he starts talking, Ma,
why did you go to the moon?
Come back. I'm so sad without you, Ma. You've been at the moon for so long. and Vlad looks and turns to us and he goes, honestly, I think we should just kill him and put him out of his misery.
He's kind of just sad and lonely. We quoted a quote right here.
Yeah.
Should we put him out of his misery? He's kind of sad and lonely.
I could kill the quote channel later, honestly. Just, they bring back so much. But yeah, so we tell Vlad, me and Emil, we're both like, no, we're not killing him. We'll leave him alone for now. And as we're leaving, I remember you had us roll to see if we started crying as well as something because it was just like so sad.
Yeah, I was like, roll to see if you feel bad for taking all Gru's. He's just weeping.
Yeah, I think
I think you were the only one who felt sort of bad.
Oh, was I?
No one really I think no one felt like really bad, but like you were just kind of like, well, okay, well, shoot, I feel.
Yeah, Vlad didn't even have to roll because he was the one that was like, why don't we just kill him? Just put him out of his misery. He didn't even have to roll for it. So
yeah.
We go back to the tavern with funny items.
Watching chess.
And so we go back there, and I started asking, like, okay, who had what here? And I point, there's like 8 people in the tavern because the town is really small. So I'm like, all right, who had what here?
And out of the 8, like 4 of them had like something missing.
Yeah. So the first 2 were like legit because I looked in the box and it's like, oh, I'm missing like 20 silver pieces. I'm like, all right, there's exactly 20 silver pieces. It must be you. And then the other person was like, oh, I'm missing like a jewel or something. And I'm like, okay, here you go. I get to this old raggedy bitch. And she's standing there like, oh yeah, because beforehand, actually, she told me specifically that she would reward me if I got her watch back. Because the watch, quote unquote, meant so much for her. Or to her.
It was... She said she was like, oh, it's a family heirloom or something like that.
Yeah. She said, oh, I got it from my grandmother or some stupid garbage like that. So I go up to her and she's like, I'm missing my watch and I'm missing like 20 gold pieces. And I'm like, okay, the gold pieces I can believe, but I'm like, I only got one watch from him. I'm like, we found no other watches there. I'm like, and the only watch that's here says, to Gru, love mom. And I'm like, does this look like it? And she goes, yeah, that looks exactly like it. I'm like, so why does it have to Gru, love mom on the back? And she's like, I don't know, maybe he carved it in himself. I'm like, no, by looking at this, it looks like it looks like it's permanent. I'm like, it looks like this is what it was made with when it was originally like constructed. This was carved in from the beginning. I'm like, so are you trying to tell me, lady, we just went through a lot to get you this watch and you're doing it all because of your own selfish desire for wealth? And she's like, well, you got the watch, so and he's a bad person and crap like that. And then all of a sudden, Vlad, the actual player, he's like, hold on, Joan, give me a minute. And he plays Phoenix Wright music. He plays the like when you're putting up evidence, I believe, when you're trying to put up evidence. So So I'm sitting there, and I go, listen. I can't remember my whole spiel, but I remember when I was on it, I was like really, really into it. But it was
Yeah, you were into it.
Yeah, but I was basically along the lines of, listen, I am traveling all over the place attempting to change the world's views on this and this, and you're telling me that I have to come to this town and deal with your problems, which actually end up being the most selfish actions that I can ever think of. You're sending people that are actually willing to change the way of society out to do your own dirty work. And she's sitting there like, well, why does it matter to you about this and this and this? And I'm like, listen.
Racist thing. She started. Eventually, she was like throwing like dirt. Also, she was like, "Oh, I would only expect that from nobles." She's like, "I would only expect that from a noble family." Tieflings.
I'm like, oh, there it is. Yeah. Play the noble card. Play the tiefling card. Play the mage card. Well, guess what? In the end, it doesn't prove the. Oh. He has vanished, ladies and gentlemen. I am alone. He is back, ladies and gentlemen. I am no longer alone. That. You are okay, bro.
Okay. We're good now. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're good. He is back. Alright. Continuing. So, that's when I went off. I'm like, play this card, play that card. It doesn't prove the indisputable fact that you are willing to trifle with the country people and yada yada yada. And I went off, and eventually she eventually I remember I was like, and listen, lady, you don't even understand the position and what you are talking to and how you are approaching this. I come from I'm like, I have a lot more power than you think. I could establish a dictatorship here if I wanted to, but I'm being kind. So if you want to save yourself right now, you might as well step out of the tavern. I'm like, because no matter what you say next, you're never going to convince me otherwise that you did not go to the very pathetic lengths that you went through. And she's like, this is why we can't have nobles and yada yada yada. And she ran out of the tavern.
This is why tieflings can't be nobles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and she ran.
They have a silver tongue.
And Vlad was watching the whole time, and so was Emil, and they're both just fucking enjoying it.
Yeah, I think they even said, I think we're gonna order an ale because they were in the tavern.
Yeah, they just sat there and watched. It was funny. So I remember, and then I'm like, all right, so who else had stuff stolen? And I went up to the next guy, and that guy was also telling the truth. I'm like, thank you. So I went up to the bartender, and then he gave me a reward because he's like, it's not every single day that you see someone of, he's like, it's not every day you see travelers willing to take time out of the day to just help the tavern. So I'm going to give you this. And he gave me like 20 gold pieces. And he's like, do me a favor and split it with those
give you some potions or something like that.
Yeah, and he's like, do me a favor and split it with those guys. I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like, I'm being set out to help. I'm like, I don't want it. I think I ended up.
Yeah.
I don't think I accepted it in the end or something. Yeah, no, I didn't.
I think he forced you to take it.
No, I think he forced you to take it. I think I told him that I'm not gonna take it. I'm like, but those two people over there will take it. I'm like, I didn't do that out of the.
Oh yeah, you didn't accept it, but those two did.
Yeah, I'm like they deserve it more than me. I'm like, because they. Mm-hmm. I didn't say that, but I was like those two can have it because I didn't do it for the purpose of wealth. I already come from a wealthy town. I'm like, I don't need to go through the lavish lifestyle of that.
Yeah.
So that was technically 2 stories.
That was good. The Gru story.
So you're welcome. Viewers. So.
All for you.
All for you. All right. So
Mark Gru off now.
Yeah, he can mark Gru off, guy. The wheel is back, ladies and gentlemen, ready to decide our fate.
Spin the wheel.
You got everything ready?
I'll get the camera ready. Yep.
We're gonna spin that wheel. Big money. Alright, we are back to Maine.
Ooh, fun.
Alright, give me one second.
Now that fifth option.
1 second before you spin. roll.
Okay. Well, yeah. The fifth option is now open. So 3 is now 5.
Yeah.
We got 2. Okay. Oh, fun.
What?
This one's a fun one. I hope that this person's watching. We get to talk about their detached peppers.
Yeah.
This is a story dealing with Raiden. If you remember a little bit about Raiden, he's the bard of our group.
Yeah. I'd say
this was
Raiden,
before The Rock.
Yeah, I'd say Raiden is probably my favorite. I like him more than my own character. No offense to Newt.
He's kind of the comedic.
He is so comedic when he utilizes it, but then he's also the most logical and serious. He is the perfect blend. He's really good. I'm sorry, Newt, but to be fair, I'm also undermining my character. He is better than my character. I know that hands down.
He's even better than my character, the DM. So I mean, it's all good. He's the best.
He's really good.
He's the best there.
Yeah. We did not expect him to branch out like he did. Sorry, I don't mean to get sidetracked.
If you know who played it, you would know why.
Yeah, but his interaction with oh wow, I feel dumb. What's his name? Shoot, Talus.
Talus, there you go.
His reaction with Talus, I was like, oh, okay, Talus, sure, real mature.
Talus is the main villain of the game.
Yeah, he tried to turn invisible and walk away. He's like, oh, okay, Talus, real mature, walk away.
These guys have a very they have a past that intertwined. These two used to be very close friends, so they knew each other before.
Yeah. So
real mature Talus.
You're roboting. Just so you know. It's all good though. We got this. So
oh, by the way, just because I find this kind of funny, the person who plays Newt just messaged, and they just messaged, you are right though.
all right,
about your comment.
Alright, thank you, Newt. We got confirmation. He is indeed the best. Alright.
Woo!
Alright, so okay, so this is actually an earlier story. Okay, so we were stuck at this tavern for a good chunk of this one. We were actually there.
It was the lodge, actually.
We were there for 2.
It was actually the lodge.
Yeah, the lodge. Yeah, no, we were at this lodge for 2 sessions. We were there for almost the entirety of one, and then we were there for the first couple hours of the next one.
The first, I'll give a brief description of the first. The first had to deal with getting drunk, singing, screaming Stella, and a tab that was way overpaid.
Okay.
The tab was thanks to Newt. Yeah. The getting drunk was thanks to Raiden. And the singing and dancing.
Effort. The singing was combined. The singing was wonderful, though. I learned how to play the piano.
Yeah, you did. And then we had El Baño, which is Newt doing monkey dances.
Yeah. And then I was playing piano, and Ryan was going hardcore on that lute. Wait, was it a lute? It was a lute.
Yeah, it's his lute. It's his lute.
So.
Also getting drunk.
Yeah. He got pissed drunk. He's like, woo, stage dive. He fell flat, and then he starts going, Stella.
I would like to let you know, if you were to start your own band without me, it would be okay.
I don't Okay, so this lodge, a big part of the campaign that are running, The Rise of Tiamat, is that there's a cult that worships Tiamat, and they're actually trying to summon him back. So, yes.
Talus is the leader, once again.
Yeah. So, in the lodge is actually like a cult hideout. It's where a bunch of the cult members are hanging around, and they were actually getting ready to take off the next day. Well, we disguised ourselves. We convinced them to let us in.
Yeah, at this time, the party is not seen as a huge threat to the cult. They're
Yeah.
not really seen as a huge threat, and they're not really known throughout the cult. At this point in the adventure, we're not done with the adventure yet, but at this point, with sessions that we're at now, basically they're known throughout the whole cult.
Yeah.
This is before any of the artifacts, or before they knew the artifacts was what caused Tiamat. So
Yeah.
this was before that.
So even though we were dealing with cult members, we were able to slip by because again we weren't. Yeah. So, excuse me.
This was also the last session that Sai was actually like on your guys' team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like maybe. Well, no, he was at the dungeon after because of the whole ice incident. But
yeah,
after that he just kind of trailed off, and that was what made us realize we're like, okay, no.
Yeah.
So let's see here. I'm like busy like buying a dress, I think. New is doing his own thing. Ryan is upstairs trying to gather intel. Yeah, so he's on like the second floor, and I think it was like the main.
Oh, you guys were This was when you guys first arrived, because you guys walked in. You were covered in blood from the Yeti skin.
Yeti.
Raiden was drenched and wet, and Newt was just like hungry, and he was just getting hungry. He was just getting food or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why he kept eating steak and wine.
Yeah. So Raiden went upstairs to try and get dried off.
Yeah.
And try and like get his stuff dried off.
Oh my
So he
God.
locked himself in, or he didn't lock himself in the room. He shut the door and just took off all of his clothes and hung them up on hooks because it was like an armory room or whatever.
I think it turned out to be like a elite codist's room or something. It was some sort of.
Yes.
It might have just been some sort of codist's room. It was one of the rooms, but.
Yes.
Oh, he's trying to dry off. He gets completely ass naked. Being straight up, he is ass naked. He starts looking around the room also because he's noticing weird things. It was behind
and he ends up finding a secret passageway.
Yeah, it was like behind a painting or something, I think.
Yes, it was. It was a big mural, and he ends up pressing the button on the mural, and it causes the mural to basically think of a sliding door. And it slides open, and there's just a little stand in there. And it was holding an invisible mask, which he eventually found. But for the time being, he didn't find the mask. So he walked in there, looked around this tiny square, like little secret room, and then walked out, and the painting closed.
Yeah. So he was still naked, and then, oh yeah, there are like kobold like maids.
Yep.
Their mouths are stitched shut because they're not allowed to say anything. So. They can't say anything, so all of a sudden, you're like, all of a sudden you hear footsteps approaching the room, and he's like, and he goes,
quickly pushes the button on the mural,
and then jump through the door of the mural, and then I made a joke. I remember, I said, I was like, I hope he gets a nat 1 and he gets his dick caught in the door. And
then right as he went to roll, both Newt and Alex both started cheering, or like kind of egging on for a nat 1.
Yeah, like get a nat 1. I'm like, oh, see.
And Raiden gets ready to roll and lets the dice spin on the table and gets a nat 1, and instantly I looked at the player who plays Raiden, and his heads were on his head, and he just turns towards me and he goes, "Jordan, please, yeah. I beg you, no."
Yeah, no, we were like cheering and shit, and we were like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, Alex, you also turned towards me and you were like, you know what you have to do, right?
I'm like, let this happen. I'm like, dude, you're like, alright. And you were like, you felt so weird explaining to me. You're like, alright. So Raiden goes to leap. He goes like pelvis first. and Raiden, and you just go. And then Raiden he's just like screaming. He's like, ah! And he's like, by the way,
as loud as he can.
Why would you vouch for a nat 1? What kind of...
I'm pretty sure I made him take like 2d8 of damage plus 5 or something like that, which at the time was pretty insane. Because you guys were like level 6, or something like that. So at the time it was quite a bit.
Yeah, and then I think me and Newt. Me and Newt were we were like, I guess he's got detached peppers.
That's not even what happened afterwards, because he didn't get caught on the other side of the painting. He got caught on the side where the door could still be open. He could still be seen. So the door's still open, and here comes the Cobalt Maid and just stares at Ryden, who's sitting there screeching with his dick caught in the door. At the time he was still... he was just... No, he just got turned into a human, remember? Because he got revived as a human the session before this. So he just got to... Nope, he just got turned into a human because the castle was before the lodge.
Oh. Yeah.
So into a human. This is like the second day of him being a human. Oh my god, it was so funny. And I remember as I explained this, the maid just like slowly wept. And like tears rolled down its eyes and like closed the door.
And then Ryan is sitting there like making threats in like a serious tone while he's asking. He's like, you better not tell fucking anyone about this. Really? Like, how do you defend yourself? Look at you.
You better not tell anyone about this.
You better not tell anyone. I'm like,
I'll kill you. Yeah, the maid just closed the door, and after a little bit of struggle, was finally able to get uncaught. Yeah. And he wore his clothes wet because he was sick of being in that room. He just left.
Your camera turned off.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, there it should be back on.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Yeah, that's the story of detached peppers. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's. I mean, this is just very, very short. I'm just remembering a random time just because I remember the half elf. Because one of the coaches or something was like, he was like, I hear that it was a half elf or something. I don't remember who was talking to us. I actually think it was one of the Blue Gauntlet guys. I think. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I do not actually. I do not remember this.
Oh, it was one of the Blue Gauntlet guys, I'm pretty sure. And he's like, if I recall, the person was a half elf. I go, oh no, a half elf? Those are the worst. And Ryan turns to me, and he like slams the table, and he like hits me.
Yeah. Story with what was this? I do now that you say that. What was the story with like Ryden making fun of Newt because like they were talking about like dragon people and like how stupid they are, and then Ryden was like, I turned towards really hate dragon people because Newt was turning into a dragon or something like that. He's like, I hate dragon people, they're so stupid, and he turns towards Newt.
Oh yeah, because Newt was slowly turning into one. He's like. No, because he was talking to like one of the he was talking to someone. I think it was the one.
The Blue Gauntlet. I know it's the Blue Gauntlet, but I can't remember what exactly the conversation was.
I don't think we should rule out any possible disgusting malformed dragon men.
Oh yeah, because you guys were talking about the spies. That's what you guys were talking about. I forgot the spies.
Yeah.
And Newt was turning into a dragon because of the cult. So
okay, did you guys consider the possibility that it might possibly be a malformed dragon shapeshifter?
Turns towards Newt.
By the way, a majority of Newt's reactions is just flipping us off.
Either that or just being like, as I will quote him, "Fuck you."
Yeah, he always comes back with something at least. I'm not. It's funny.
Sometimes though, he has really good comebacks. Like there was one where you were in an argument with Newt, in the woods about something. I forgot what it was. It was something about I think it was about his dagger or whatever, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We were in the woods and I was like, "Why don't you trust me?" I'm like, and this was recently after he discovered a major part, a major
to his story,
of me, and he was upset about it. So it was we were just. I was like, you have no reason not to trust me. I'm like, I've given up so much. I'm like, give me this chance. I'm like, and he's like, well, why can't you trust me? I'm like, it's not that I don't. I'm like, it's just the fact that you dropped out the fucking sky with no explanation. Of course, I'm gonna be a little suspicious. So.
His whole I can't remember his paragraph word for word, and I can't even try and say. I can't even try and say it without giving it without giving it justice. But
I think it was, you know nothing. You only follow.
You're just a sad little
you're
girl.
A scared little girl who wants to find out her backstory. So just back off or something. The only reason,
it was something like that.
The only reason you trust and need me or something like that was because I'm your only hope at discovering your backstory.
Yeah, so, which we were both like, by the way, you shouldn't say backstory, you should say past.
Oh, that was later though. I think that was something I said. I'm like the only thing about that whole thing, I'm like, that was really good. I'm like, but why'd you? I'm like, backstory sounded off. I'm like, when I talk about something from my past, I don't I'm like, oh, you want to hear part of my backstory?
Yeah, you say past. Okay, we should probably move on to a different story.
It was a really good comeback, though.
It was really good. It was. I have it quoted, but I don't really feel like going searching for it.
Yeah.
We should probably move on to our next story anyways. We spent quite a bit of time on detached weapons.
Okay, so... Oh, you know what? It's funny. I actually didn't come up with a set time that I wanted to end this stream. I was thinking about 11.
11? That sounds good to me.
So, I mean, we can go a little over. It doesn't really,
Yeah.
I mean, we can go through every single story, but I mean, we'll be up till 3 o'clock, Because
probably even later than that, so let's not do that. We can save the rest of the list for later.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll probably do another podcast some other time for more. I honestly really like doing this. So
yeah, I believe for our next podcast, for those of you listening, we'll have to discuss it. I was kind of thinking about doing a different theme and saving D&D for the podcast after it or something. I was thinking about
we could just do every other podcast as D&D for a while.
For a while until we run out of stories.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty big D&D fanatics. So
yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind taking some podcasts where we could just talk about not political or anything, but I don't know, some sort of. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't really want to do current events or anything because I don't really want. This is not going to be a political platform at all. I have no desire to turn this into anything like that. But I am wondering if we hear news about a game or something, we could just have a whole podcast just talking about game news or something like that.
And we did that. We did that with our first podcast. Remember, with the Smash, and we also talked about. I can't remember what it was, but there was a bit of news that we had talked about at the end.
Yeah.
That was related to games. I can't remember what game, but there was a bit of news that we talked about.
I don't know if
I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was Octopath. It was something to do with Splatoon, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. It was something to do with a game, but there was
I remember there was actually three. There was 3 things we had. But anyway, excuse me. I say my guy,
I guess while you're talking, I guess I'll kind of show character sheets because why not? That could be fun.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, that's right. That was another idea. All right, let's get going. All right.
Yes.
We are moving on to the next round, one would call it. Let's spin that wheel. Let's hope it is a one shot because I would not mind a one shot story.
Get the first, my favorite.
There you go.
For one shots.
Come on, homie. Discord.
Discord again. Okay.
Yeah, Discord again.
D4. Ooh, 4. Oh yes, I want to talk about this one a lot. It's the group dying.
Yes. I
really wanted to talk about this one. Oh, this one is one of my favorites. This is the only time I've ever had any party members die.
Not just any party member. It's the whole party, baby. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so if you remember back from the story with Gru, it's the same characters. One session after this campaign lasted for 2 sessions, and then everyone died.
That's why we kept giving the connotation or that we were like, or the annotation, whatever. I can't remember. I'm dumb. But we kept inferring like had. we did, because we knew exactly how we ended up. So all right, where do we start with this? Oh dear. Hello?
We should probably start with I guess we should start with like probably right after just entering. We're going about the change, but they were.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, right? You cut out. Uh-oh. That's weird. What the heck? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Uh-oh.
Okay. I said you guys were going to go get a gem to go fix the mist.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take it. So...
Okay, yeah, you please take it.
Yep. So what initially we had to do is that we had to go get a gem, because prior to that, there's actually a whole other story that follows it about how there was like this giant mist, and it was it was causing all the townspeople to basically freak out. So that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So we have to go into this mine, and keep in mind that in this world, basically everything was like infected and plagued and just really jacked up. So we have to go into this cave, and it's very like there's like it's just a big cave, and there's like so many different turns, and there's a bunch of it's just like a very convoluted dungeon. So sorry about that. So it's just like very big and convoluted. We get to this part. Keep in mind, this is an artificer, a wizard, and then I'm so sorry, Vlad. Oh shoot, I'm so sorry. Oh, God. Oh, he said it earlier, too. I know. I knew you were a vampire. I can't remember what else you were. I'm so sorry, man. It was like a ranger or something. Hey, John. Hey, John. Hey, John.
Yes, what's up?
What class was Vlad?
Vlad?
Yeah.
He was a... What was he? I think he was a ranger.
See, that's what
I'll double check.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure he was a ranger.
Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, because he loved his crossbows. So, anyway. So, we get to this one part, and there's a bunch of infected... They were orcs, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, no. They were infected No, they were infected orcs. You're right. You're infected orcs.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of infected orcs, and they did this because they were like covered in like boils, covered in that had like acid and crap in them. Basically, if we attacked it and those boils exploded, it could hurt us. That was man, that was really annoying. So we decided to try to.
They did have very low amounts of hit points, though.
Yeah.
That was like the thing that made it easier. They had like 2 to 3 hit.
But we decided it was in our best interest, especially because we're in an all support party. That it might just be in our best interest to just try to get past them. So we actually we like fight him for a little bit, and then we realized, okay, this is bad. So we decided to go, because I believe Vlad already turned into a bat, and he already flew ahead. So we were like, oh, we better just go. So we're running, and they're giving chase. And we go down a corridor, and there's a gate with a lock.
There's a gate with a lock. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Emil just broke the lock with something.
Yeah.
Just use brute strength.
Well, he was trying to or she was trying to inspect it, and then I think the player of Emil, I think he was asking, like, is there anything unique about it? Is there any kind of mechanism that I recognize? Is there anything like interesting about it? And you're like, no, it's just a normal.
It's just a keyhole. There's a keyhole that you put a key in, and then it unlocks.
I think what actually ended up killing us was the fact that he couldn't get the lock open.
Well, someone ended up breaking it. I know someone ended up breaking it eventually.
Okay, yeah, I think we
and then
did,
you guys ended up going
never got out of that room, I remember. Because that's where...
Yeah, you guys didn't get out of that room. You guys went in the room, and you guys went to another door that was locked and got stuck there. But the first door you guys broke through. The second door...
Yeah.
Because the room was shaped like a rectangle, and it was filled with a whole bunch of cages with bones in it. And then on the other end of the room, there was another locked door. They went to go to that locked door, and they couldn't open it. So then they started to prepare to battle, because they knew that they couldn't open it in time.
Yeah, we were like, we got cut our chance. We got cut our loss here.
Mm-hmm.
Me being a wizard, artificer in the ring.
6 hit points.
All support. Keep that in mind.
I don't think any of you guys had a healing spell also.
Nope.
You guys were all support, and not a single one of you had a healing spell.
Nope, but we had a couple health potions.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're trapped in this locked room, and we're preparing to battle, and I go to fight an orc, and I think I hit, but then the boils got me or something, and then I fell over or something. I was like on the verge.
And what was your famous words?
Well, okay, I was on the verge of unconscious or something, and then one of them attacked me, and because wizards can't have armor, I actually had an armor class of 11, I believe, because I bought like a cloak or something that gave me
special robes that give you like 1 or 2 armor class.
Yeah, and I agreed to give up like a majority of my money for it. So. Yeah. Gave me like another 1 armor class. So I had 11. This thing hit
you had 11 or 12, one or the other.
Yeah, this thing hit me with like a 16 or something. And it hit me, and then one of the boils exploded, and that also hit me. And then Jordan is like, that does like 10 damage. And I only had 7 hit points. And I was at 1. So that killed me instantly. And I'm like, I'm dead. And he's like, what?
But what are the words you said? What are the words you said as you died?
Well, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, right after he said, oh, you got hurt 10 points. I'm like, shit. And then he said, you're like, what? I'm like, I'm dead. Like, you're like, what?
And,
like,
and everyone around the table instantly just assumed that's what his character said as he died. So just like, we made it a quote even.
Silent, by the way. Because I was all of a sudden like,
yeah,
shit. like, I'm dead. And everyone went quiet. And
Alex says
and you're
that
sitting there
as he kicks the bucket.
Yeah, and you're sitting there like, I actually don't know what to do because I haven't had you die before. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm dead. And at that point in my mind, I'm thinking like, all right, well, I guess it's just going to be the 2 of them from now on unless I get a resurrection spell, which isn't going to happen.
Yeah, those things are really expensive, plus it usually costs a chunk of diamond.
Yeah.
You need like a chunk of diamond.
Yeah. So what ended up happening though is that both of them found out that neither of them could fend off as well. And I believe Emil went down second and Vlad went down last. No.
Vlad turned into a bat.
Try to escape.
And went up in the and then he took 3 attack opportunities and died. Emil died next, and then Vlad was like, "I'm getting out of here," and he flew as a bat, but took 2 attack opportunities and got hit by both, and everyone died. It was a mass massacre.
Emil and Vlad went unconscious, but I mean, what would you assume they would do?
Yeah, they can't do anything. They can't do anything when both of them are unconscious. Yeah, because all the monsters would keep doing is just attacking.
Yeah.
So afterwards, in our achievement channel, Alex put a very good only achievement that we have.
Yeah, I put
on that server.
Vlad just reminded me that it was a bard.
Oh, it was a bard. Yeah, you're right. Oh my god, it was a bard.
Yeah,
it was a bard.
For those of you Tales of series fans, this is a Tales of Vesperia reference. And so what I did is I said January 4th, 2020, the day the party fell, and they were never heard from again.
Only achievement they ever got. They died.
And the whole point of the achievement channel is I was like, it's anything impressive that the party accomplished, you know?
The death.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's the day we fell. So,
day we died. We spent an hour afterwards just deciding what we were going to do, and we never came to a conclusion. To this day, we still don't know what we're really doing with that whole thing.
We just kind of accepted that it's over.
It's over. Yeah, but we spent an hour, so do we want to restart? Do we want to make a new campaign?
Next year, me and you had to go somewhere, and we were in the car, and I'm like,
we were going to robotics, remember?
Yeah, I'm like, so about last night. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? And you're like, I really don't want it to end like this because I took the time to make the world and shit. I'm like, yeah, and we took all the.
I really like the world too because I even talked to you guys and you're like, yeah, I kind of like the concept of the world because it was an interesting concept compared to this is the villain. It was the world has already gone through this big war and it's just trying to help people with poverty and that kind of
Yeah. So.
And also this mist issue.
Yeah, so it was truly, truly unfortunate. But
it was.
I didn't want to. You suggested at one point. You said, "Do we just want to pretend like it never happened?" I'm like, I didn't want to because I always said, and I still believe this. The big part of D&D is knowing that you can be killed. And knowing that you can fall and that you can get out of the game because of either bad decisions or just because you were more stupid than brave and stuff like that, or just because you were put in a very unfortunate situation that you couldn't find a way out of. So I always believe that it's more up
or dice gods were just against you.
Yeah, you just got really.
That's always on too.
So it's both a. It's both a chance of of the dice, and then it's also just when you play D&D, you know that you can die. You know that the game could end.
Yeah.
You know, not even that the game could end. You know that you could get out. So I always said that if my character dies, I die. I'm like, I don't want to find any way to get out of it. I don't want to beg the DM and be like, Jordan, please let me live. It's like, no. I'm like, I got the bad dice roll, or I made the bad decision, so I'm dead.
Can we just talk about your dice rolls for a second?
I fucking hate the number 5.
Yeah, Alex gets a 5 every time.
It's horrible. We had a Discord adventure way before the one that we had previously, or that one that we had a couple months back.
Yeah.
We were fighting was it a boss bugbear or something, or a giant bugbear, whatever it was.
A giant bugberry, yep.
And I got five times in a row. Isn't that ironic? Five times in a row. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I'm convinced this is weighted. I'm like, there's no way that I can get 5 this many times.
And then I bought you a metal set, and you still get 5s.
Yeah, no, 5 just hates me. I really like my metal set though. It's a nice set.
It's just the 5s, and it's not on every dice. It's only on the D20. It's not like, oh, I'm rolling a D6 and I get a 5. It's only on the D20.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Probably should move on to another story.
Yeah. We'll share a couple more, and then we'll probably wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll probably get 2 more in.
Yeah.
Probably get 2 more in.
Yeah.
Unless we get the short one, because for main adventure, the 5th one is very short, so we might be able to fit 3 in if we get that one.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind running till like 11:30 either, because we had a late start.
Yeah.
But we'll see how we're vibing, and we'll see how the audience feels. So.
Yes.
How's everyone enjoying the stream so far? We're trying our best here. We're working with the best of our resources.
Oh man, it's amazing. I bet they all love it.
Oh yeah.
I had one person who just said they enjoyed it about an 11. I don't know what that means, but an 11 is 11, so yeah.
They enjoyed it about an 11. 11 out of 10?
I don't know. Do you care to verify, good sir?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
No reply.
Yes.
Oh, you got a reply of yes?
Just
okay.
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
No, I didn't get a reply, but yes. I think we get an 11.
End at 11 is what I mean. Okay, end at 11 is what he meant.
Ooh.
Yeah, he meant end at 11. Okay, not about an 11.
Not the boot. I don't know. We'll see how we're vibing.
He said it was all good so far.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad that we're not. I can talk to my.
That boring.
We can talk to the audience directly. We have not. We've not really experienced as many technical difficulties, so we're really happy. I'm really happy that we're able to get this working like properly. Because from what
I am very happy too.
I've seen, I know there's been a couple freezes. I've actually I've been checking, and I've noticed that there's been a couple drops in frame rate. But overall, those only lasted for a little bit, to my knowledge. Oh, did you not even notice, bro? Thank you, a really cool goat and Bungus Bill. Do consider subscribing to our monthly podcast premium for only a low price of $29.99. We need money.
Please sponsor us. Ooh, we need to buy a camera for your stupid computer.
I need actual visuals.
Because I'll actually let you guys see my face if Alex can get a camera for himself, so I don't be alone. Yeah. Showing my face.
Yeah. I believe a really cool goat is saying, oh, because he just realized the very low price of our monthly subscription of $21.99. Thank you.
Yes.
So.
But we're not here to talk about our membership. We're here to talk about our stories. So let's get back to the funny wheel.
Yeah. All right. So I got the wheel up right here. That is wrong. I got the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
We're going to go ahead and spin that baby. We got Discord again.
Discord again? Man, we're not getting one shot. That's fine.
It was very close to one shot. It was like, it's very close. Well.
So let's get our camera up.
I think.
And 1. We already did 1, so we're going to roll again. 3. So we are doing... Oh, shoot. Okay, well, that's a mess up. Okay, well, So there's only 1 left for Discord because I did a big mess up. So the last one left for Discord adventure is the Misty story. And we get to talk about the Mist Rask.
This one actually isn't... Oh, no, never mind. I forgot like a whole second half of the story.
Were you about to say this isn't that funny?
Oh, no, I was gonna say that it wasn't that long, but I'm like, no, wait, never mind. I'm like, I completely forgot the second part. Also, thank you, Bungus Bill. Yes.
What did Bungus Bill say?
Oh, he made funny meme in the comments about OnlyFans. But anyway, okay, where to start?
Probably should start with the wise man.
So in this town there's a guy called the Wise Man that we decide to go to because this town doesn't necessarily have like a governor or anyone to like govern the people, but there's a wise man.
Yeah, it was kind of just the wise man. The wise man was like kind of like the guy that everyone went to, though.
Yeah, so everyone just kind of minded their own business, kind of, except Gru. But everyone minded their own business. But the wise man was, he had all the information, and he was very old and wonderful. He was great.
And I'm just gonna say it now. He was a really big douche to Alex's character.
Yeah, because he hates nobles. And a big thing with him is that he's like, he the nobles caused us to go into this lifestyle. And he hated that I was a tiefling. And he hated that I was a mage.
Yeah, but that's because most nobles are tieflings.
Yeah. So
it kind of loops in with the noble thing.
Yeah. So it's funny, just very shortly, just all the clashes we had. It was just like, I was just trying to sit there and convince him, like, I was trying to ask him just, like, for help on, like, any wizardry tricks and stuff. He's like, I feel...
Necromancy.
I'm like, I feel no need to tell you. I'm like, he's like, you're not even a necromancer.
He's like, you're probably going to use it against us.
Yeah.
He's like, you're probably going to use it against us.
He's like, he's like, I don't want to teach you. I'm like, what makes you believe that I would do that? I'm like, I'm just simply in the pursuit of knowledge of magic so that I can make it more accepted in this world. And then he's like, that's probably you using that silver tongue of yours. And I'm like, I would never use my silver. I'm like, I don't even have a silver tongue, sir. Like, I would never use it.
All tieflings have silver tongues.
Yeah. Eventually, I don't remember what exactly what he said. But he said something about, he's like, why don't you just go back to your disgusting... He was like, why don't you just...
yeah, your disgusting life is noble.
Yeah, he's like, why don't you just go to your horrible life as a noble again and leave us alone because no one wants you here. And then I responded with, I'm sure you crawled out of a pretty disgusting fucking mud hole yourself. In a way, we're not too different. Everyone lost it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so funny.
But anyway, the mist.
I'm pretty sure you crawled out a pretty disgusting hole.
So there's a mist that was like occurring, and he told us to not open the door, not to go outside.
And what does Vale do?
It was Vlad. It was Vlad.
When the mist shows up?
It was Vlad.
Or Vlad, sorry. Yeah, but what does Vlad do? He opens the door.
Yeah, he believes, he's like, I'm gonna open the door. He's like, because I don't think he's like, if there's anything out there, I can just scope around and I'm sure it'll be fine. So he opens the door, and what this causes that, a Tarrasque in D&D is the most fearsome creature. So...
Oh, God, yeah.
A giant mist Tarrasque all of a sudden goes towards the house, and...
Yeah, it just appears, and it has eyes set on two people, and those are the two people who saw the Tarrasque. And that was Alex's character and Vlad.
Yeah, because I was like...
The other two did not see it.
He, shut the door it was like a Scooby-Doo costume, or Scooby-Doo episode or something. He, opens it, he, shuts it. He's like, no. And Wiseman is like, you fool. It doesn't matter if you shut the door. I'm like, oh, no. So
it's like, as long as you saw it, it's going to come after you. I would go hide now.
Yeah, well, where can we
hide? He opened up his cellar for this.
I guess you can hide in my cellar. And we're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So we go down there, and Vlad is like, fuck
jeez.
this. And he turns into a bat and he hides in a jar. Or he turns into like, didn't he turn into like a mist or something? Can he turn into like...
He tried to... He tried to turn into a mist, and then I was like, no, this is overpowered. And we had to, like, in the middle of the session, fix his character because his character was overpowered because he could just turn into mist. And the mist could, like there was no weakness to them in, like, mist form as long as he wanted to.
There was no
so he had to fix it. So he had...
It was
so he ended up just turning into a bat.
He could, like, go through shit. And we're like, no.
That's overpowered. And he could do it as long as he wanted to. No limit on how many days. It's just whenever he wanted.
Yeah, so he says, fuck this, I'm going to turn into a bat and go into a jar. Well, I didn't have that because, you know, I'm funny.
You come up with the stupidest idea, though, ever. I'm not going to let you down for what you came with. I'm not going to let you down for what you did, though. It was so dumb, and it was probably the dumbest thing I've ever...
Okay, so my instinct was...
I'll let you try and justify your reasoning here.
My instinct was, okay, what the wise man told us actually is that, it can still... He's like, it can smell really good. Like, it has really good scent, or like it can pick up scent really easily. Or like, I'm like, okay, I need to find something that can mask my scent. So I'm like, oil. I'm like vegetable oil.
Instead of looking for something like, you know, like a very strong herb or like some with a very strong scent, he instantly goes to oil.
Because oil masks scent. The herb, looking back, it would have gotten rid of the tiefling smell, but then it would have smelled like very strong herbs, so that still could have triggered something. Oil smells like nothing. Oil is odorless.
The whole room already smelled like herb, though, because this place is filled with a whole bunch of herbs.
Well, either way, so I saw it as, you know what? So
got butt naked.
Oil is odorless and it masks scent, so I stripped completely naked. And I poured a bucket of oil over my head, and I rubbed it in, and I hid behind a barrel. and Vlad is sitting in the jar watching this the whole time. And he's like, this stupid retard just covered himself in oil. So.
Oh my god. Tarask peers through the floor.
So I'm behind a barrel, ass naked, covered in oil. There's a bat in a jar. We hide down there for a good few minutes, and then it eventually goes away. And Emil comes downstairs, and she's like, "Are you guys okay?" And I come up from behind the barrel. I'm like, "Is it gone?" And I'm
butt naked.
And she's like, "Ah!"
Oh my god. That's not the first time characters have been naked before in my campaigns.
Okay, yeah, no.
In main adventure, you have the role exposed as Stella. So
yeah, and then there was also one in club adventure, but.
Oh, and we already explained one where someone was naked already. Also, detached up is Ryden's character was naked. So
yeah. So Emil comes downstairs and she's sitting there like, "You fucking idiot," and I'm like, "What?" Like I had to bask my scent. I had to get rid of it. And she's like, and then the wiseman chips in, and he's like, "You are aware that there's like tons of herbs down here that will basically make you smell like nothing, and instead you decided to be the stupid tiefling noble you were, not use your brain properly, and bask yourself in all my oil." I'm like, "Can I?"
Yeah, I think you used all of his oil. I think you used all of his oil too, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so he was actually mad about that.
I'm like, "Can I just get a towel?" And he's like, "Fine."
He's like, if you have to, that's what he said. He's like, "If you have to have a towel."
I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, "I would appreciate one. Thank you." And then after that, it was just after the mist went away, and then he gave us our quest to go off. But man, they would not let.
Yeah, he was mean. He was mean the whole time though to Alex's character.
Yeah, he fucking hated me. And man, they would not let down about
The oil. I will not let you down about that.
And I go upstairs, and he's like, well, I'm not the idiot who, got butt naked and slathered themselves in all the stranger's oil. I'm like, it was a smart idea. I'm like, it was a good idea. And Emil started face palming herself, and she's like, anyway.
Oh, by the way, I would like to mention how good the player Emil is at doing the female voices. It's really funny too.
Yeah, he's actually really good.
He's really because it's played by a male character, and the male character's pretty good at making a lolly voice. So
yeah, that was basically his first character. Next.
Yeah.
So. Oh man! Wow. So we out of Discord stories?
Yeah, we don't have any more because I was big dumb and I messed up and I got the wrong and I counted 3 instead of 4.
So I'm gonna go ahead and make an executive decision. If the wheel lands on Discord, it's just gonna go straight to one shot.
It's one shot.
Since we haven't had one shot, so now there's a 2/3 chance it's gonna be one shot. So I'll just get main now.
Yeah, we're gonna get main.
We're gonna get main. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, main has a lot of good ones. So.
Oh yeah, no.
So we got the wheel back up.
Working on it, homie. There it is. You beautiful thing, you.
The wheel took us so long.
Yeah, you don't need to know how long the wheel took. It took us sadly.
It was sad.
Amount of time. It should not have taken as long as it did. It was really upsetting.
Got a new D4 this time. Thought I'd switch the D4.
Spin that wheel. God, it's on main.
Okay, so we got 1, 4, and 5, and if you remember correctly, if it lands on 2 or 3, it goes to 5.
Wait, give me a second. Don't roll.
So, okay, I will not roll.
All right, roll.
Okay. So we got 2. So since we already did 2, it goes to 5. So we were telling the very short stories.
Okay.
So we got a whole bunch of little short stories here for you. We got Tressa Rants, which there's one in specific that's very funny. We got Socks in general.
Socks.
Or like the little Socks comment. And then we got Crab Rave. All little very short stories to tell.
Yep.
So for the Tressa Rants, so should we just talk about the one that was funny?
Yeah.
Just the very one that was funny. Okay, here, I'll explain this one. So Tressa's a character I play as I'm the DM, so I have to be very careful with Tressa and what I say because I can't reveal anything as Tressa. So Tressa's just kind of there with the party at all times. Tressa's this young girl. She's about 15 or so, I think we agreed on. She carries a backpack around, and she's fully based. She's the game Octopath Traveler. So yeah, basically that character imported into D&D.
Yeah, for those of you that played the game.
And if you...
Merchant.
Yeah, and if... and if you know me personally, I do not swear. So that's what makes this whole story funny.
Except you swear.
I don't usually swear. Yeah. So I don't usually swear. So that's what makes this whole story funny. So... At the time, Tressa and Raiden were fighting about something, and they got over it.
Sorry, but they do a lot. It's really...
Yeah, they do a lot of fighting.
There's a lot of fighting.
Yeah, they do fighting. I can't remember what they were fighting about, but eventually they went silent for a while, and they stopped talking. Yeah. And then they were traveling, and then I can't remember what it was, but Tressa was doing something, and Raiden said something about her being thick. I think it was the necklace that. No. Oh, you want to explain the necklace story first, or no? The necklace is very short. Because I think the necklace was the reason why. Okay, you can explain the necklace after this one, but for some reason, Raiden just thought about bringing it up to Newt. To where Raiden was just like, "Hey, Newt, do you think Tressa looks thick today, or something like that, or something stupid like that?" Yeah. And Tressa turns around towards Raiden and goes, she's like, "What do you call me?" Now what? I can't remember. Did I?
It went off.
I can't remember.
It went off a little bit. It was like she was like, "What'd you just call me?" He's like, "Oh, He's like, "I called you very rather attractive, pretty much." And she's like, "But I thought I heard you use a specific word." And he's like,
Yeah,
I did, but in the end, it means the same as very attractive in a specific manner. So it really doesn't matter what the word is. She's like, "What word did you call me?" He's like, "I called you thick." And she's like,
and she goes,
she's like, "What is thick?" She's like, "What does
yeah,
that mean?"
and right.
He's like, thick means," and then she cuts in.
Yeah, and she and I remember I said, "Did you just call me fat motherfucker?" Something stupid like that.
She's like, "Did you just call me fat motherfucker?" And we were like, my jaw
died. Oh my god, it was great because I screamed it. Yeah, I screamed it. It was really loud.
Yeah, Ryden was absolutely.
It was very funny.
Newt and I.
Newt was losing it also.
Our jaws dropped and we just looked at each other. We were in amazement. We couldn't believe it.
And then everyone busted out laughing after a couple seconds. It was pretty great.
Well, Ryden went straight into laughter. He exploded.
Motherfucker, you just called me
fat. Fat motherfucker. We're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I had to do my female voice too. I should probably do my Tressa voice for it. Did you just call me fat motherfucker? Yeah, something stupid like that. Oh my god, it was terrible. It was so funny though. Oh my god.
And then we went off.
It was one of the very few times I swear.
Okay, what's the next short one? The socks one?
It was the amulet. Do we want to talk about the amulet?
The amulet's funny.
Yeah, you can explain the amulet. You're really good at explaining the amulet, so.
So we were traveling. We were going with the Blue Gauntlet towards a volcano because that's where the next artifact was. And we came across a cultist camp, and it was already like gone. Like everyone was out. Like there was no one there.
Yeah, it was just a fire left, which wasn't even like lit anymore. Just the ashes of it, with like a couple logs for seats.
Ryden was a bit curioso, so he decided to search through the fire because he actually thought he saw something like shine in there or something. I don't think he said anything, but he just wanted to poke through it. So he poked through the fire, and it was like a red and gold amulet. It was like normal, very normal looking amulet. And he decides to, he's like, I think this would look good on Tressa. And it wasn't me. No, it was me, because he was like trying to, there's this weird little thing where like Ryan is like weirdly like hitting on Stella, and then Stella and him are like very trustworthy towards each other. At one point you were complaining. It wasn't really complaining, but you're like, oh my god, this is just a fucking dating sim.
Yeah, these guys were sitting on a roof, like flirting with each other.
It was like an hour.
Yeah.
And then there was my favorite when Ryden was like, just like, oh, by the way, illusory door, I just forgot doesn't last for that long, so we're stuck up here.
We're stuck up on the roof.
He's like,
it was Dimension Door, yeah.
Yeah, Dimension Door.
He's like, Dimension Door, yeah.
Dimension Door.
He's like, I forgot it only lasts for a second.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're stuck up here. I'm like, oh. So.
Oh my god.
He gives it to me. He's like, here, Stella, I think this would look great on you. I accept it because it's like, alright, it's just an amulet. Maybe it gives me something. I think it actually does. I think it gives you like plus 2 HP or something. Something's very, very.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure like it like makes your constitution higher by 1 or something like that.
Yeah, so it makes you slightly better. It makes you higher, something like that.
Yeah.
What it does.
Oh no, it was charisma. It increased your charisma by 1 because remember, it makes you look
much more attractive.
Beautiful.
It makes you look.
So
it makes you look hot. So. So I put it on myself, and then all of a sudden, the way you explained it, I got really attractive. And Ryan just, all you said was, all of a sudden you notice that Stella looks a lot more attractive. And Ryden is just like, Ryan's like, he went into full detail. Like he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, look at her ass, her tits. And then he's like whispering. I'm like, what? And he's like, nothing, Stella. And he's like looking away. And he's like, I remember he's like covering his face. He's like, calm down, Raiden.
I remembered. I left some. He's like, I remember I forgot something at the fire pit and then ran off or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, calm down, Raiden. Calm down. And then I think Newt also noticed, but I think that's
he didn't really have a reaction.
He's like, hey Newt, do you notice how much hotter Stella is? And
yeah.
So he's like,
he ends up leaving in some way though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is that he does end up going up to me. He's like covering his eyes, and he's like, "Can you please give me back the amulet?" And then I'm like, okay, sure, but I actually kind of like this amulet. He's like, give it back. And I'm like, okay. So I give it back. He's like, I'm kind of curious. He goes up to 14-year-old Tressa.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah.
He's like, here, Tressa, I got you an amulet. And she's like, didn't you just get that from Stella? He's like, no, it's for you.
yeah. Because Tressa was sitting right next to Stella.
Yeah, he's like, no, it's for you. And she's like, okay. And she puts it on herself. And then it does the exact same thing. All of a sudden, Ryan notices how much more attractive she is. And then me and Nuda over here like, okay, whoa. And John, I'm like, hold up. I'm like, this isn't gonna go somewhere good. And Ryan all of a sudden yells, oh no, I made the child sexy. What do I do?
Yeah, he screamed it though.
And I'm like, and we're like, oh no, this ain't good. So he took he like ripped the amulet off of her. He's like, I'm just gonna hold on to this.
Keep this. Yeah. Oh, that's that story though.
Yeah.
Now we need to talk about the team player story with Socks.
That one.
This one's very short, also.
That one I'm like not very on for some reason. I know what kind of.
The only thing that's funny about it is what you said, really. But Socks, basically, just think of him as like Newt's apprentice rogue. He kind of adores Newt and kind of looks up to him. And he found a way to actually join the party. He ran away from home to find the party, and he joined them. But when they first met, I think your character was asking him for a butterscotch because Socks is addicted to butterscotch, and he always has one, and he's always eating one, basically one.
Yeah.
But you asked for one, and Socks was like, "No," and you came up with this retort. I'll let you say it because you know it probably better than I do.
Can I have a butterscotch? And he's like, "No," and I'm like, "How come?" And he's like, "Oh, mine." And then I'm like, all right, kid, you're not gonna be a team player. You can get out. And for some reason, Raiden started dying at that. He thought that was really funny. Because he was like, he said in such a calm tone, he's like, all right, kid, if you're gonna be a team player, you can get out.
Yeah, because at this point they were deciding if it was worth keeping him around.
Yeah, that for me that was my first legit interaction I had with him, because I was after we decided. I think it was right after. I'm like, hey, can I have a butterscotch? He's like, no. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, no. So I just got a viewer request to do a story, a very short one. I got a request to do the love chocolate story. Should we do that and include that in with the Tressa stories?
The love candy, the hard candy.
Yeah.
In the box that
you want to just
ride and bought. Yeah. That was that was basically keep away.
Yeah. So Ryan, I guess we might as well just talk about this very short story. But Ryan bought this box of love candies because he has this thing for Stella, and he was like, I might just keep these for later, So he's been holding on to them for quite a bit of sessions now, and out of nowhere, he's like, you know what? I just want to get rid of these.
Yeah.
And Tressa really is curious. Yeah, Tressa and Stella are both really curious about this box.
Yeah.
So like they're begging him and everything like that as he's like throwing one candy off at a time. And I think he threw all of them off besides for two of them. And then like you guys were able to like get the box away from him.
Yeah. It was like a red.
And Ryan was
a red and a purple heart candy left.
Yeah. And Ryan was basically just pleading for like the box back, and you two were like, "But what did the candies do?"
And he's like, I can't tell you. And we're like, why can't you
I can't tell you.
He's like, let me do. He's like, all you need to know is that they have very, very potent magic that no mortal should ever have to use, and it is much better if we discard these. And I'm like, I'll agree to discard them if you just tell us what it is, because I'm like, clearly,
tell us what they do.
Clearly, it was important because you bought them. I'm like, so clearly you were gonna use these at one point. What were you gonna use them for? What do they do? And he's like, I'm telling you, they just contain very potent magic that no person should be able to manipulate. And he's like, please, give them back. So I
and then Tressa was like, why'd you buy him then? Tressa was like, why did you buy him then?
Yeah, he's like, because at one point I thought they were gonna be they were gonna be helpful, but they weren't. And he's like, but they're not anymore. So he's like, please just give them back to me so I can get rid of them. And I think eventually he was able to like throw them off. And then I was like, didn't I have Socks go fetch it?
Yeah, you were like, Socks, go get it. And Socks was
like,
okay.
No! He's like, Socks, stay! And Socks goes.
Yeah, Socks goes, grabs the box, and comes back.
And then,
oh my god.
Does he still have them? I forget.
Nope, what happened was that Socks gave them to you, Stella, and then you gave them to Tressa. And the funny part about this story is what Tressa did with them to keep them away from Raiden. Tressa sat on the candies. Yeah. Not like the candies themselves, like the box.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who it was. Was it Newt or was it Raiden who was like, aren't the candies gonna melt? Who said that? It was either Newt or Raiden.
I think it was Ryan, but I'm pretty sure Newt agreed or something. I can't remember.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Ryan said it. Ryan said it.
But I did respond with it. And
you did respond. I remember your response.
Your response
was hilarious.
By the way, for the record, if the players of Ryan and Newt are watching, sorry if we mess anything up. It's just memory.
Yeah, sorry. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's always like, if you guys... Honestly, they could probably join us someday if they ever want to from their own devices.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, someday maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Maybe.
D&D stories are fun.
Yeah. So...
Counts on if we can keep quality up.
Right, and it would also depend on, if all of us got into it.
Schedules.
We gotta make sure to... yeah, we gotta make sure to keep going. So,
yeah.
He thought they were gonna melt, and I'm like, they're hard candies. And he's like, yeah, but it's like, Ryan's like, yeah, but it's like a jawbreaker. He's like, so it's gonna melt if she keeps sitting on it. And it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it was just, I love your response. Your response was great. I loved it so much.
Ryan, I never thought I would have to say this in my life, but I do not think the ass of a 14-year-old girl is going to melt a jawbreaker. and he's like trying to defend me. And I'm like, no, it's not going to. I'm like, you have to make me say that to get my fucking point across.
Oh my god. Okay, we got one more short story, and it's already 11:10, so we might as well go to 11:30. So after this short story, we could probably fit in one more story,
and then we'll call it.
And then call it good.
For all you fans still watching.
Yeah. So our last short story before we go back to one more long story is Crab Rave. This one had nothing to do with me actually, besides for I made an encounter with giant crabs. The actual Crab Rave part came from the players of just the other 3 players, because one person suggested, I think it was you, Alex, who suggested it, and then everyone hopped on the bandwagon afterwards, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah.
Well, okay, because Raiden initially triggered was it? He originally triggered. He told Newt, he's like, no, don't kill the crabs. He's like,
don't kill the last crab.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta do something.
And they run away from the last crab through this passageway, and through this passageway there's a trap. There's a tripwire. And if you trip over the wire, a log comes down and hits you into the next room. But they already were in that room, so that room's already cleared out. So, but they jump over the wire, and the crab hits the wire, causing a log to hit it and make it fly. It doesn't die, but it flops in the middle of the next room. And instantly, I can't remember who screamed it, but someone screamed "Crab Rave," and they started playing like the Crab Rave music.
I think it was me.
And we had a map because we play with a map, and we had it on this little tote in high quality D&D. But we had a map on a tote, and we all just started to kick the tote to death as if it was the crab.
Yeah, we had to play in a small room for once, and it was like, we had to set this map up, and it's like, you started playing it, and then at like the drop, we all stood up, even you joined in, and we just started...
because you guys were like, you have to join in, Jordan, you trust us, so you have to join in. I was like, okay, fine, I'll join in.
Yeah.
I remember too afterwards, I was like, I hope you guys didn't break any cars, because inside the tote is like my grandpa's like antique collection of cars. So I was like, if you guys broke any of these cars, I'm gonna throw a fit.
We had no idea, and we're like, oh no, that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. We should probably spin that wheel one last time, unless you want to just say go to one shot without spinning it, because we didn't get a single one shot in.
Let's spin it just for the funsies.
Just for the funsies, gotcha.
I say we spin for funsies.
Watch, we're gonna get main adventure again.
Probably will. That's a sad part. All right, streamers, gamers, viewers, whatever you are. Let's hear it for the last spin wheel of the night. We are going.
Dungeoneers.
Gosh damn it! It is main again. Let's do one.
Okay,
shot.
So we only got two. That's cheating the wheel, Alex.
Oh my god.
We can't break the rules of the wheel. I told you we can go to one shot, but we spun the wheel. That's your fault.
Can we do one shot?
You can't break the rules of the wheel. We can't break the rules of the wheel,
Can I at
Alex.
least know what the one shots are?
Yeah, we can do one shot. I'm kidding. We can do one shot. I was just messing with you. I'm hoping for either 1 or 4. Those are my favorites. Oh, yeah, 3. Oh, we get to talk about your least favorite, Alex. We have this funny NPC.
Is it Bear?
We have this fun player character for Club Adventure quite a long time ago. His name was Bear. He was a raccoon.
This is a mistake.
It was played by a player that her character wasn't there, so but she still wanted to play. Yeah. So she was like, okay. And we made a character, and his name is Bear, and he was a raccoon. You were so disappointed.
I didn't even raffle when we first revealed Bear. Or when you first revealed Bear. I didn't even laugh. I'm like, this is stupid.
Okay, so I have Bear's character sheet. Yeah. I think instead of me explaining Bear, I should just start off by reading his stats.
Yeah.
Bear is a sorcerer raccoon.
Yep.
His strength, 14, so plus 2. Dex,
raccoon,
14, plus 2.
Wow,
okay, Constitution, 18 plus 4. Intelligence, 10 plus 0. Here's the crazy part. Wisdom, 20 plus 5. Charisma, 30 plus 10.
Yep.
His hit points, 74. His claw had a plus 10 to hit, and it did a d10 plus 35. He had the lucky feat, plus the alert feat.
Lucky feat.
His perception was a 19. His stealth was like a 15. His persuasion was a was like a 20 plus 20. So yeah, that's Bear the God. He could cast any spell he wanted to, no matter what level sorcerer he was. And yeah, he did have one downfall though, and that was if he was around this player's other character, he couldn't do anything. So that was the downfall, because Bear was a pet to this character.
Yeah.
So the only time that Bear could be like his god form was when he was away from the player's other character, which barely ever happened. But when it did, you know,
we can say the player name, isn't it? Or not the player name, but the character, isn't it? Is it EIAE or is it OEOA?
Yeah, it's EIE. It's EIE.
Okay. EIAE. Yeah, it's literally EA-AE or EA-AE or something like that.
Yeah.
EIAE.
So EIE. Yep. So there's not really much to talk about Bear besides 4. He killed a dragon all by himself.
So dumb.
Really overpowered. Honestly, we could really stop talking about him there and just do a different story, because there's not much to talk to about him besides for he was a god raccoon.
Yeah.
He existed in multiple universes. I bring him in occasionally to other campaigns. Yeah. So he exists in multiple different universes. Yeah. He travels through time. He's a god. This one's more of, you find funny through it just being a thing compared to a specific story, because every time that Bear was just killing things, so...
Yeah, no, I guess the main reason to mention Bear was... It was just the way he was introduced, and it was like, there was like a dragon, it's like, oh yeah, Bear used this thing that you guys didn't even know. Like, we didn't even know what happened.
Also,
all of a sudden the dragon
markings appear.
Fucking dead, and we're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, markings appeared on his fur. That's another thing about him, is when he goes to God mode, or whatever we want to call it, his fur got markings on it, and his eyes glowed red, so.
Yeah. He was just... I don't know, I think... I feel... I don't necessarily hate him as much as I make it out. It's just like... I
remember after that session, you came up to me and you're like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
What was your motive?
Yeah, no, because...
You're like, what is your motive? What were you thinking?
I'm like, because what was the need for us to all of a sudden get a stupid, overpowered raccoon? I'm like, where was the desire for this?
Maybe we should mention this also.
We didn't ask for this.
We not only did you guys not ask for this, but we weren't planning on having a session that day. We called you late. You were home, and we called you late. And we're like, hey, come back to the school.
Exactly why it was too. I was leaning on my kitchen counter eating cold chicken, and then all of a sudden Rory texts me like, "Hey, we're still having a session." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, we're not." And he's like, "We are in the art teacher's room." And
in Mr. Shanks' room.
Yeah, but.
And then you showed up, and I was like, here, wait an hour, we're still doing something, and you didn't know what we were doing, and then it ended up being Bear.
Yeah, no, because you made us sit there for like 40 minutes. I'm like,
you guys showed up and were like, sit there.
I'm like, I barely got to eat my cold chicken. I rushed out here, hoping, I mean, keep in mind, my house is like 5 minutes away. But I'm like, I rushed here thinking you guys were in the middle of a session, and I was missing it. And then you're like, no, Alex, don't come anywhere near us. Go. And I'm like, okay.
Wait, go talk with Rory. Go talk with Rory.
Yeah, we watched an episode. We watched the first episode of JoJo. We did, and it's like, because he hadn't started watching it yet, so he wanted to start it. I'm like, okay. So we watched the first episode of that. I had already seen it, but I'm like, what? So we sat there for 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we should probably... Let's not spin the wheel, honestly. Let's just do one more one-shot and then call it good, honestly.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
Okay, so let's roll the dice one more time. I'm hoping for 1 or 4, but 2 is also a good one.
Okay. Son of a...
Oh, we got 2.
Wow.
Okay. So 2 is a good one. This is actually from the Discord adventure before the one we've been talking about. This is a story about a potion and a Tarascon.
Oh. Yep.
And a player who was Morse, right?
Yeah.
Same player who played Vlad. Yep. So this is the same player. He had a bard here also, and his name was Morse. This was a chaotic evil, or was it a neutral evil? I think it was chaotic evil.
It was like I think it was neutral evil, or chaotic.
Okay, well, if he wrote neutral evil, he was wrong because his character was obviously chaotic evil.
Yeah.
We don't have to explain too much about this character, besides for this character had a huge habit of not being friends with the party
and killing people,
messing over the party,
betraying.
Yeah. And slapping people for no reasons, which that's what got them all into this mess.
He headbutted someone and it fucking knocked them out.
Yeah, he was trying to get fire boots. That was the original goal that started this whole thing.
And he was willing
when
to...
the shopkeeper refused him, he headbutted him.
I thought he headbutted the shopkeep, but it was also because he was so tempted to get the fire boots. I think the governor or something was trying to throw him out. And then, didn't he?
The governor tried to throw him out because this was the second time he's assaulted the shopkeeper, and he's also gone around town.
The governor.
Oh yeah, he headbutted the governor also. Yeah,
because he was standing in the middle of town square, and he's just like fuck you, and he just headbutted him. And we're like, oh shit. We're like, what did he just do? He made a hefty retreat into the woods. A boy.
Oh yeah. By the way, I would like to tell you guys this. Most of this, like, one shot was spread across multiple sessions that we all just, like, labeled a one shot just because the fact that we're like, okay, this never really, like, this happened, but only between these characters, because there was 2 characters that couldn't show up to these sessions, so we're like, we'll just do a side thing till then, you know?
Yeah.
So we labeled this under a one shot, but this took over, like, 2-3 sessions.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he booked it in the woods, Morston, and you guys followed Morse, right, and tried to find him, and you were trying to talk with him about it.
There was a bounty on his head, so we were like...
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, there was bounty hunters searching for him, even.
So we were trying to knock sense into him. We were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We're like, why did you do this? And he's like, I want my fire boots. And I'm like, that's not the point. You are now a written criminal. And he's like, what is new here? He's like, I don't understand what you're complaining about. And I'm like, he's like, look, I really don't mind just spending my days in the woods away from the town. I'm like, you're never gonna get your fire boots, and they're after us now because they've seen us with you. And he's like, well, that's not my problem. I'm like, oh my god.
Hide out in the woods too. And if you also remember what he did during that night, because he hid out in the woods and you guys went to the inn that night.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because he made a deal with a doppelganger.
Yeah.
That if he were to break your guys' weapons, then he would help him get the fire boots.
And
so this is like a side thing. This is like a side thing because this isn't even like the thing with the Tarascon, but like, yeah, Morse broke your battle axe.
And my battle axe was really good.
And Nixus's new special weapon that Nixus just made.
Yeah.
Like the grappling hook dagger or whatever.
Oh yeah. It was like a scorpion.
Nixus just made it. Yeah, Nixus just made it and he broke it.
And then my battle axe was like a blessed battle axe. What it was that if I attacked someone, I had a 50-50 chance of like taking the HP that I dealt damage to, and then I could distribute it to anyone I wanted. So it was like a draining axe. but I could give the health to anyone. It was really good. It saved my life. And then we went to battle eventually, and I hit it over an enemy's head, and it snapped clean off. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? I actually didn't know for the longest time, and then I was like, oh my god, he broke it.
Yeah, because what Morse did is he cut it most of the way, but didn't like cleanly cut it off, so then like it seemed fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Morse hid in the woods for like a couple days, and eventually one bounty hunter finally got him.
Bounty hunters came across, and we actually, for some stupid, we had our reason, but we defended the bastard. We made sure we were like, oh, he's not around here. And because we needed answers out of him, so we're like, all right, well, if he dies now, there's gonna be no point. So we needed answers, so we're like, oh, he's not around here. We don't know who he is. And then, so eventually, a bounty hunter did get him, right, and he ended up in.
He was caught, and to punish him in front of everyone, he's like headbutted, I guess, and was a jerk to. See him fight with no weapons against an owlbear.
Yeah. And
the rest of the party ends up buying a ticket to go to the Coliseum to try and help from the outside. Didn't really seem like it was working out though. He was dying to the owlbear, and you guys were just like struggling to find a way to help without getting in trouble yourself.
I think eventually I just was like, "Fuck this," and I just jumped.
Yeah, you were. You just left. Yeah, you're just like, okay, forget this. Yeah, but as soon as you jumped over the wall, now I gotta explain a special item that I have in most of my campaigns. This thing I like to call the randomness potion. So the randomness potion can be bestly described by a little thing that's called wild magic for sorcerers. It's basically that, but in the form of a potion. Either you can drink it or you can chuck it, and it affects whoever it splashes with a 100 different options on a table. So I roll a D100, and one of those things happen. Very popular potion in my campaigns. Another thing about it is after you use it, there's a 50% chance you get another one. And it kept coming back. But this time, this player, Nixus, is like, I'm going to throw the potion randomness. I don't know what else to do. So she throws the potion randomness, I think, right at the owlbear, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Or like towards those two.
Because it turns the owlbear into a thing.
Yeah. Okay, Nixus chucks the randomness potion, it flies, tumbles, hits the ground, splatters. And as it splatters, I go, okay, Nixus, roll your D100 to see what happens. Rolls it. I can't remember the exact number. I used to remember the number because this has happened like 2 to 3 times. This has happened 3 times on this exact table, so I should remember the number.
Yeah.
But it was like 90-something, though. And the potion splattered on the ground. Everything kind of like went gray. Just like nothing was moving besides for Nixus. So basically time was frozen, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, this big form appeared in the middle of the Coliseum, and it was half Tarrasque, half angel. So think of a floating Tarrasque with angel wings, and like the arms, the fingertips were like kind of like humanoid. And you basically got the Tarrasque god. What the Tarrasque god does is the person who summons the Tarrasque god gets one wish, but with how severe the wish is, like how like powerful the wish is, you get an equal burst of like how like strong it is. So like if you ask for world domination, you'll get it, but your curse is going to be like terrible. You'll probably like your curse will probably be like every time you breathe, you get like immense pain, or like you start to gush blood or something like that. Basically, just like a very intense curse, like with like the level of like how good the wish is, I guess. But so he throws it, and the Tarrasque god is summoned, and we spent, how long was it that he took to make a wish? It was like 10 minutes or so, because he was trying to word it correctly. But he spent 10 minutes trying to come up with a way to solve this issue. And the solution he ended up coming up with is, okay, I wish we went back 3 days. I wish that Morse never headbutted the guy, and I wish that we were just back at the shop. So basically, just a rewind of time for about like 3 days. Because I think it was a 3-day span. So the wish was granted. They were sent back, and the curse that Nixus ended up getting was a curse that was a whole bunch of symbols on
the right arm or something.
On the right arm or something like that. And it would slowly increase or decrease based on if Nixus was good or evil that day. And it was random on which one Nixus had to be. So it was a day and a 50-50 chance that she was supposed to be good that day. So
we also weren't allowed to see it.
If they saw it, then bad things would happen. I don't think anyone ever saw it, but no. If so, but something bad would happen.
It was very adamant about not showing it.
Yeah. So something bad would happen. Basically, the gist of what bad would happen is that the person would despise the character now, and also will end up hunting down the character. So if someone saw Nixus, then they would end up hating, and then eventually it would lead into the person wanting to kill Nixus.
Yeah.
So basically, making your own bounty hunters by people just seeing it. And the thing about it is Nixus was known for the mascot of the group as the charismatic one.
Oh, yeah.
So it really hindered Nixus, and it really bothered even the player. The player was super upset about it, to the point to where
he was doing everything
this led into
to get rid of it.
Yeah, which led into actually Morse's death. Morse's death was because Nixus actually wanted to fight Morse, and this went on for a whole 3 days until eventually, 3 days in game, 2 sessions out of game. But like there was 2 sessions to where it was just Morse and Nixus in this fight, and they kept trying to kill each other, and eventually they did forgive each other. And guess what Morse does the next session?
Kills himself.
He literally killed himself. So this whole thing for nothing. And the worst part about it is he tried to kill himself in 5 different ways. He first tried to kill himself by cutting his throat with a bottle, and then he tried to he couldn't cut through his neck because he was a dragonborn, so hide. So then he tried to hang himself by rip the rope with his fat dragonborn body. Then he tried to jump out the window, and he jumped out, but all he did was broke his nose. And then finally he ended up killing himself by breaking another bottle on his head or something like that. Oh, didn't leave anything. Just died with a broken bottle on his broken nose. Oh God.
That was the...
We also had another player who killed off their character right afterwards too. So there was 2 characters that died one after another.
Neither one of them were because of story reasons or anything. They just didn't want to play the characters.
That's another time that I've had characters die. Is just because they were like, I don't want to play this character anymore. It's like, oh, okay then. Fine.
I mean, Vero died. the wizard died.
Yeah, those... Yeah, Vlad also died, along with Amelia. We have one other Tarrasque story. This one's a lot shorter. This one was more for jokes with this Tarrasque one. This is the one where you summoned the Tarrasque, Alex.
I became the Tarrasque.
It was during Club Adventure. Oh, yeah, you became it also, yeah. You made a lot of JoJo references in this one also.
Yeah. I'm not gonna
you want to tell this one because I kind of told the last one?
Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's just Rory. What was his character?
Xandrich.
Yeah, Xandrich. Was a ranger. He had a couple randomness potions. Eventually, he threw them. I think he threw both of them, and one of them did this thing.
Yeah, and he kept getting more, and he just kept throwing them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, because you roll 50-50 and you can get it back. So it's
yeah.
So he threw one, and it summoned a Tarrasque god. He threw another one, and it summoned a goblin. And then he threw another one, and it made people...
He threw a third one.
And then it made people switch bodies. And I actually ran into my long-lost friend, and I got swapped.
Because you wished for your friend, remember? You wished for your friend, and your curse was you were turned into a goblin.
Yeah.
And you got turned into a goblin.
Yeah, I saw my friend. I like running towards him, and I get turned into a goblin. And I go up to him, and my friend is like a hardy adventurer, so I go up to him as a goblin, and I'm like, and he fucking bashes me over the head. Because it's like, oh shit, it's a goblin, I gotta kill it. So he bashes me, and then all of a sudden, Xandrich throws another randomness, and it makes a swap body again somehow. I get the Tarrasque God. I'm not kidding. I become the Tarrasque God. The Tarrasque God becomes, like, Xandrich, and then a bunch of other, and then...
Xandrich is, like, is your friend or whatever.
Yeah, and then the Goblin and me swapped. And then, like, my friend was the Goblin.
The Goblin. Yeah, your friend was the Goblin.
So I became the Tarrasque God, and at that point, it was, like, no holds barred. I'm like, holy shit, I can do anything I want. So, I'm...
Didn't you destroy the town, the nearest town next to you with your feet or whatever?
First, I wanted to find the other Tarrasque in the world and kill it. So I flew around the world. And
you went to the center there?
Yeah, and then I fucking I'm like, I'm gonna wrestle this boy, and I just fucking... No, you know what I did? Is that I said, I'm gonna roll to see if I can summon a thunderbolt from Zeus. You're like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. So I roll high, and you're like, okay, you get it. I'm like, I'm gonna throw it at him, and this thunderbolt just instantly makes him explode. I'm like, cool, I just killed a Tarrasque. Not everyone.
Then you went into like the god realm.
Yeah,
you went to like the god realm, and you fought other gods. I want to
transcend into the heavens, into the god realm, where all the like gods exist. And you're like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't care. So I go up there, and then I fight all of them, and I win, and I get their weapons, and I have, like, all the fucking, like, the holy lances and shit. I go back to Earth.
And then you start screaming the world all a bunch.
I'm like, the world, and I fucking freeze time.
Yeah. That's how you killed everything. You're like, I'm gonna freeze time, and then you threw the Zeus bolt, and then you unfroze time, killed it. Then you went up to the gods' realm, froze time, and then killed all the gods, and then went back down to Earth.
And then I froze time. I destroyed the city, and I froze time again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the center of the Earth and just destroy the planet. And
that's where the session ended.
Well, I dived down. I destroyed the core, and the planet exploded. I'm like, all right. I'm now going to revert time to before everything happened, so that none of this ever existed. And you're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, this is not going to continue. And you're like, okay. So that was it, pretty much. It was fun as hell, though. All that power.
Oh, that was great. I think that was a great story to end on, honestly.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I mean, the other two we didn't get to talk about here. I'll mention all the ones we didn't get to talk about. So, ones that you can look forward to in the future. A whole thing about Sai. Sai is a very interesting character that story is going to talk about. Egg is an absolutely hilarious story.
Yeah.
Those are the last two for main adventure, though. Is Egg and Sai. We finished Discord, so next time we'll probably still have Discord. We'll just add 2 more stories from other Discord campaigns.
Yeah.
And then we got one shot. We got 2 left for one shot. We got The Note, and we got Wonderland left for the one shot category.
Wonderland's great.
Yes. So we got a couple stories left. We had a lot more than that, actually. We were just keeping the small list because we knew that we wouldn't get to all of them.
Oh yeah, no. And
but we got to.
We got
more. We got way more than what I was thinking. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9.
Oh, like the 12 or something.
It's pretty insane. Yeah, that's pretty insane, actually.
So we
did really well.
We did good.
Yeah. Oh, man. This was a really fun podcast. I had fun with this one.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like we had too many problems, did we?
No. For all those that watched the entire podcast, I want to thank you once again for sticking with us, and I hope there wasn't too many technical problems. I noticed a couple, but overall, this one seemed to work much, much better than the last couple, from what I was able to tell. So thank you very much for sticking through with us. We are going to be trying in these trying times, as everyone is quarantined nowadays. Everyone that's watching this, make sure you stay safe and, take whatever measures you believe to be necessary. Stay home. Don't be that one jerk. So
yeah, make sure you're still going outside though. Just don't go in big groups.
Yeah, and just in general, just don't really go with people outside of your family. Or if you're alone, or if you don't live with anyone, then you could probably
You don't really have to worry.
Yeah, you really don't. But anyway, everyone just make sure to stay safe. During this whole thing though, we're gonna be trying to. We want to do a weekly schedule like we promised originally, but now we actually can do it. And now we have
School's canceled.
Yep, we have much more time on our hands. With many states canceling school for the rest of the year, we have much more time on our hands. Me and Jordan here are in one class that still requires us to do work, but we can balance it easily.
And if we don't do one a week, we're planning on doing one every other week. So at the very least, we're going to get 2 or 3 in a month.
Yeah. So we're planning on doing our set schedule. As of now, if there's any changes, we'll make sure to inform you guys. As of right now, it is set to be approximately 9 o'clock every single Saturday night. The only time it would ever change would possibly be on Fridays, but that would be most likely if we're unable to do weekends or unable to do Saturdays or Sundays.
Yeah, and we don't know when they're gonna end. We don't have a set end time.
Exactly.
We kind of debate. It kind of is. It's kind of
start at 9. We'll just.
It's kind of different.
Those of you that would like to, keep on listening, or just anyone that tunes in, even if you only tune in for 20 minutes, greatly appreciated. We're gonna.
It's nice to know that people enjoy it long enough to watch it for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. I got some plans. We're gonna start actually updating our YouTube channel, and we'll be updating.
Yeah.
We'll actually be uploading our streams and clips and compilations and such like that. We'll be trying to at least. I haven't mentioned this actually. I might try to get us a Twitter going.
Oh, Twitter. Ooh, fun.
So.
Actually, since we're on the topic, if you guys can find a way to reach us in form of comment or something like that, would you for the YouTube channel, would you like it to be whole streams or would you like it just to be clips, edited clips out?
Yeah, because we were
of certain funny bits. We were debating about it, so.
Yeah, we were considering compilations, kind of at the end of every month, a monthly recap kind of deal.
Yeah, or if you would just prefer, hey, here's the whole stream.
Yeah.
No edits, just here's the thing.
So
yeah, if you could let us know, that'd be appreciated.
Yep. So as of right now, we're gonna be having a weekly schedule starting as of this week, and we'll make sure to we'll inform if any of them are canceled. We'll inform if there's any changes. So thank you very much. Any ending comments there, Jordan?
No, but thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it.
Yep. All right, thank you very much.
This was a fun one. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much for tuning in to this weekend's episode of Podcast Guys. Thank you thanks to our humble audience. We hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next Saturday. Good night.
See ya.